the founder and chief executive of Flow and Scale. And I'm here to talk to you all about goal setting and why goal setting is so important to you and to your business. We're going to be talking about a few different things over the next 15, 20 minutes. We're going to be talking about the kind of goals you need to set, the best way to set goals, how goal setting can achieve consistency in your business. We're going to be talking a little bit about lead generation and how lead generation can consistently help you in your business, and how to reverse engineer. So when you start from success as your end goal, how to reverse engineer the goals you need to set in order to achieve that success that you want. So that's what we've got coming up. A lot to pack in over the next 20 minutes or so. So strap in and let's see how we get on. So we're going to start first and foremost and talk about goal setting, why goal setting is so important. And the thing to remember about goal setting is that unless you actually put something in place, have a marker in front of you, you've got no idea what you're going to be achieving. Okay, let me give you a really good example. All right, so I live in the US. You can probably tell from the accent that I wasn't born here, but I live in the US, and my family enjoy road tripping. In fact, pretty much for the last, I would say 7 or 8 years, we've road tripped in one way or another every single summer. And when we go on a road trip, think of it this way: you want to go on a road trip, so you pack your suitcases, you pack all the stuff that you need into the back of the car, you get in the car and off you go. But where are you going? How are you going to get there? How much gas do you need? Have you booked any campsites? Have you booked any hotels? What tourist attractions are you going to be seeing along the route? All of these things would make if you hadn't figured them out in advance, would make a pretty lousy road trip. Okay, so when you're on a road trip, the first thing you need to do is to determine where you're going. Now, we live in Las Vegas. We did a road trip a few years ago to New York. Now, that's on the other side of the country. That's like over 3,000 miles away. And yet, we managed to achieve it. It wasn't that hard. Why? Because right from the get-go, we determined exactly where we were going. And then we worked out how we were going to get there. So in any part of your life, whether or not you are thinking about what time you're going to get up in the morning, what time you're going to arrive at work, what time, really how you're going to save for a vacation, how you're going to save for retirement, whatever it is, we are designed to goal set. So if you don't set your goals properly, then you've got no chance, really no chance of hitting them. And that's something I talk about a lot. Is it's all well and good to have a goal in mind, but if you really want to make sure that you've given yourself the best possible chance to hit that goal, you've got to write it down. So first step in any process is defining what your goals are, and then writing them down, committing them, even if you feel comfortable telling other people what they are. Okay, I have friends who decided that they wanted to emigrate, and they've been telling people within 5 years from when they got married, within 5 years we're going to emigrate. Nobody believed them. Within 5 years we're going to emigrate. Nobody believed them. 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, then a year later they emigrated. Why? Because by expressing what those goals were, they had made it clear to other people what they were going to do, what they were intending on doing, and it kept them accountable. So whether or not you're writing it down or you are letting other people know what your goals are, it creates accountability. It makes sure you are sticking to those goals. And remember, what your goals really need to do is to contribute towards what your intended end game is. So for example, let's say you said, I want to retire by the time I'm 55. So track back what your goals are. And we'll talk about how to do that in just a second. But if you think about it, how on earth are you going to achieve at the age of, say, 20? How are you going to achieve, and we're going to retire by the time I'm 55? Well, figure out what you need to do every year. Figure out what you need to do every quarter. Figure out what you need to do every month, and then stick to it. All all a big goal is a series of little goals. So achieve each of those little goals and you'll hit your big goal. Okay. So when we talk about goal setting, there's an acronym that you've probably heard of that I think is very, very useful. Okay. Now, an acronym is SMART goals. We want to have SMART goals. Okay. So what does SMART mean when we talk about SMART goals? So SMART goals are specific, they are measurable, they're achievable, relevant, and time-bound. SMART, SMART goals. Okay. So let's dig into this in a little bit more detail because I think this is super important. It's all well and good talking about setting goals, but what kind of goals do we need to set? So first off, your goal needs to be specific. Don't say, I want to lose weight. Say, I want to lose 25 pounds. I want to lose 50 pounds, whatever the appropriate number is, but be specific. I want to lose 25 pounds. Okay. Okay. Be measurable. Now, the really good thing about what I just said was that's also measurable as well. Okay. We're not just talking about, I want to be healthy. Okay. How am I going to be healthy? I'm going to lose weight. How much weight am I going to lose? I'm going to lose 25 pounds. So that's both specific and measurable. I'm going to go to the gym more. Okay, it's great going to the gym, but what are you going to do when I get there? I'm going to work on my cardio. That's specific. For 20 minutes every day. That's measurable. Okay, so don't just say, I want to be healthy. Well, that's a great goal to have. Let's break it down into, be more specific, narrow down exactly what you're going to do, but then make it measurable. Put a number on it. Okay, whether it's how much of something you're going to do, how long you're going to do it for, or whatever's appropriate. Okay, I want to generate more leads to my business. Well, be specific. I'm gonna send more targeted emails. Okay, great, but how many? I'm going to send 100 outreach emails every day. Okay, that's specific and it's measurable. Now, let's say you wanted to improve your cardio. Okay, so you decide, right, I'm going to go and I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do cardio every day. Great. Let's make it measurable. I'm going to do 7 hours a day. That takes us on to the third point. Is that achievable? Okay. So it has to be specific, measurable, and achievable as well. Okay. On both sides, because you don't want it to be too low. I'm going to do 11 seconds of cardio. Well, that's ridiculous. Okay. But at the same time, you don't want it to be too high that it's a goal you can't achieve. Okay. The more achievable it is, the more rewarding you will feel, and therefore the more consistent you'll do it. So if it's much better to say, I'll do 10 minutes of cardio a day. If let's say you're starting from scratch, I'll do 10 minutes of cardio a day, or I'll do 20 minutes of lead generation a day, or I will do half an hour of self-improvement reading a day from zero, where you know it's something you can actually fit into your schedule and you'll actually do it, than something that may seem much more aspirational. I need to do 2 hours of cardio. Well, yeah, but you're actually going to do it. Okay. So make it specific, make it measurable, make it achievable, make it relevant. That's the R, SMAR, make it relevant to your long-term goal. Okay. So for example, let's say you want to lose weight. Okay. It may well be that doing, sticking with the gym analogy, it may well be that doing reps of your forearms, that's very good, but that's not going to make you get to your long-term goal. Okay. Going back to our road trip analogy, if my objective is to get to New York from Las Vegas, I need to be heading east. If I head north, I'm going to get to Canada. Now, Canada is very nice, but it's not New York, which is where I want to go. So you've got to make sure that the goals that you're setting all work towards what your objective is. Okay. Remember that the goals that you set, these activity goals, whether it's in terms of fitness or in your business or whatever, all have an outcome that you're aiming for. The goals are the necessary vehicle to get to the outcome you desire. You've got to make sure that they're relevant, as in that they will get to that outcome. So for example, let's say we're talking about lead generation. Well, you got to make sure that if you say, I'm going to send a whole bunch of emails, or I'm going to make a whole bunch of cold calls, is that the right approach for your business? Okay, are you targeting the right people? Are you targeting them in the right way? So you've got to make sure that whatever activity you're doing is driven towards the right end goal that you have, the objective that your goals are driving, are intending to drive you towards. And then finally, you've got to make them time bound. Okay, I'm going to send 50 emails. Okay, great. Over how long? Do you have given yourself a day to do it, a week to do it, a month to do it? Okay, losing weight's a great example. Okay, you can say, yeah, I want to lose weight. Okay, how much? That makes it specific and measurable. I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay, great. Is that achievable? Let's say it is. Is it relevant towards your goal? Well, yeah, your goal may be, I want to look fantastic for a particular, we've got a wedding, we're going on vacation, whatever it is. There's an event coming up that I want to look great for. So I want to just like lose these last 15, 20 pounds, whatever. Okay. And that makes it time bound as well. So I know in order for me to, for example, look amazing in that suit that I want to wear for my best friend's wedding, I need to have lost this amount of weight by this time. So it's specific. I know exactly how I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to go on this particular weight loss program. I'm going to do this exercise program. It's measurable. I know how much weight I want to lose week by week. I know how much exercise I want to do week by week. It's achievable. I make sure that this is a realistic amount of weight I want to lose. This is a realistic amount of exercise I want to do every single day. It's relevant. Doing exercise and losing weight will make sure that I look good in that suit. And it's time bound. I know I need to have achieved all this within that particular date, because that's the date of the final fitting for the suit I'm going to wear for the wedding. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, relevant, and time bound. So let's look at how we apply this to a business. Okay, so the key of any business to be successful is to be consistent. Okay, and goal setting is a key to being consistent in business. Okay, if you don't have that consistency, then you won't see consistent results. Input equals output. Okay, now why is this the case? So here's the thing. Let me ask you, does this sound like you? Does this sound like your business? Okay, you have an amazing January, and then February is not quite as good. March is a disaster. But then, yeah, you rally and your April is pretty good. You have an amazing May. June, not so good. July is terrible. August starts to get a bit better. September, October, better still. An amazing November, and then December's a washout. So your year looks like a sine curve. Okay, up and down, a roller coaster, feast and famine. Now, why does this happen in business? And why does this happen overwhelmingly in small businesses? You'll notice this doesn't really happen in big businesses. Okay, Kellogg's produce exactly the same amount of cornflakes every single month. Coca-Cola produce the same amount of cola drink every single month. And if you look at their earnings, you look at their revenue, pretty much, there might be a little bit of fluctuation, but it's broadly speaking like this, okay? Trending upwards for the most part, and not this wavy inconsistency. Now, why is that? Well, here's the secret. Most people get into business to be the practitioner of the thing they want to do, rather than to sell the thing they want to do. Let me give you an example. A CPA decides they're going to break free of working for the other accounting firm and start their own. An attorney decides they're going to break free of that law firm and start his own. Now, when they're doing that, they didn't decide, I want to sell accounting services. I want to sell legal services. What do? They want to provide accounting services. They want to provide legal services. They don't want to sell to people. They want to help people. And how many of you that are listening to this right now got into business to sell what you're doing? I would imagine very few. I would imagine the vast majority of people listening to this, and you yourself, got into what you're doing right now in order to provide the services that you know to people that require your help, not to sell. So for that reason, what we tend to do as business owners is to focus more on the practicing, actually practicing the business, than selling it. Let me ask you if this sounds anything like you, if this resonates, okay? So you get into work and your appointment book, your daily schedule is empty. So I'm gonna have to do some new business activity. I'm gonna have to do some lead generation. I don't really like doing it. I don't really want to do it, but I'm gonna have to do it because there's nothing else to do. So you're in there and you are sending a bunch of emails, you're making a bunch of phone calls, you're posting a bunch of stuff on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you're doing all of the things that you need to do. And then a lead comes in. Someone wants to talk to you. Great. So you speak to them and they say, yeah, I want to secure your services. Thank goodness someone's going to secure my services. Great. You've now got a project to work on. Maybe it's a new client. Maybe it's an existing client that's come back, whatever it is. But you've now got a project to work on. Great. I'm going to work on that project. It's what I wanted to do. It's what I'm here to do. It's what I set up business to do. Amazing. So by the end of that period, you finish the work and you have sent out an invoice and the money's going to come in. Great. But where's the next piece of work going to come from? And the piece of work after that? Where's the next invoice going to come from? And the invoice after that? Where's it going to come from? Well, the truth is, unless you've got another piece of business behind it online, then you're going to be starting again. So depending on what your sales cycle is, depending on what your delivery cycle is, what you'll be looking at is something that looks like this, because you only are going to get business coming through consistently if you have lead generation creating that business consistently. Without that, all you're going to see is this up and down, because if you do no lead generation until you absolutely need to, then when you finish delivering the work that you've done, because you've got no leads behind it, you haven't done any stuff to create business coming up behind it, then where's that business going to come from? So how do you do that? Well, the simple fact is it comes back to goal setting. You need to determine, and I've got a tip or two on how to do that, which I'll come to in a second. You need to determine how much new business generation you need to be doing consistently. And consistently could be different for every business. It could be once a week for you. It could be once a day for you. It could be once a month for you. I don't know. But we'll come to how you can measure that in a moment. But it's got to be consistent. Okay? In my 3 businesses, we do lead generation in each of them every single day. Every single day we do lead generation, because we need business coming in on a consistent basis. If we're not doing it consistently, we're not going to get consistent throughput of leads. It's that simple. And we need a throughput of leads consistently. We need to take leads from being unqualified to qualified to developed and then closed every single day. And if we're not doing it, I assure you, we see a blip. If we stop doing new business development, then we know further in a week or two, there'll be an absence of new business coming in, of new opportunities coming in, of work that we can deliver on coming in. So if you want to see a consistent output, if you want to see billing consistently, invoices going out consistently every single month, you need sales every single month, which means you need leads every single month. And rather than doing a month's worth of lead generation in a single day, do it every day. Share the load. Block out time on your schedule for, say, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever's appropriate, every single day. And that is your sacrosanct lead generation time. If you're not doing it then you won't do it. So how do you figure out exactly how much time you need to spend and what activity you need to do for lead generation? Well, the best way to do this is just to start from the end and work backwards, okay? You'll know within your business that there are certain mile markers that you have, certain time that you've got that, certain time elements that there are across the life cycle of your business. So, for example, let's say you're selling a high ticket offer, all right? So you'll probably have an onboarding call, you'll have a qualifying call, and then you'll close, okay? Let's say there's those 3 stages: onboarding call, qualifying call, and close, all right? Now, you'll know what your percentages are from how many qualifying calls how many closing calls actually close. Let's say it's 2 in 1, okay? So you need 2 closing calls for every deal that you actually close. If you close 1 in 2. Now let's say qualifying calls, they are also 1 in 2. So for every 2 qualifying calls, that's the second stage in the process, 1 of them will go through to a closing call. Okay. So now, in order to have 1 sale, you need 2 closing calls and you need 4 qualifying calls. Now, let's say you need 5 onboarding calls, say 5 onboarding calls. Okay, the first call you make to a client, in order for 1 of them to become a qualifying call. Well, if you need 4 qualifying calls to make 2 closing calls to make 1 sale, you're going to need 20 of those onboarding calls. All right, that's fine. So on average, how many emails do you need to send? How many cold calls do you need to make? How many Facebook Lives do you need to do? How many posts do you need to do? And all this comes from measuring and tracking. Measure and track all of the activity that generates and turns into an onboarding call. Okay. Once you know what that magic number is, then you know, let's just say for argument's sake that you need to send out 100 emails to get 5 onboarding calls. Let's say your conversion is 5%. Okay. It's very simple. If you need 20 of those happening every month, then you need to be sending out 400 emails. Now, are you going to do them every day? I don't think so. But make sure that whatever your lead generation activity is, it tracks back to starting from your end goal. You're tracking back through those conversions to determining what your lead generation activity needs to be. It's simple math. Now, it won't work out every single time because there are fluctuations. Sometimes sometimes your conversions aren't quite right. There's nothing that can really be done about a final conversation that was definitely nailed on happening, and then the head buyer deciding that he's not got budget anymore, or that he gets fired or something like that. Okay, but for the most part, over a period of time, if your conversions are accurate, it will work out. Okay, so knowing what they are will give you a very clear guide of what your overall monthly lead generation activity needs to be, and just divide that by 20, because for the 20 working days on average in each month. Okay, so we've covered quite a lot over the last 25 minutes or so. Okay, we've talked about how to reverse engineer your lead generation activity, what lead generation activity you need to do and why it's so important to be consistent, how to achieve consistency, and the importance of goal setting and the SMART goals formula. Again, SMART goals being your goals to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And as long as you achieve consistency with your goal setting, whether it's in business, whether it's in your health or personal relationships, you will have consistent success. If you want to learn more about me, my name is Simon Lady. Find me on LinkedIn. It's linkedin.com/in/headhunter Simon Lader. Or you can go to my Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/scale, share, monetize, where we talk an awful lot about lead generation and goal setting and how to achieve consistency in your business. I'm super grateful for Global Speakers Talk having me on, and I look forward to joining you again sometime in the future. But in the meantime, I've been Simon Lader. Thank you very much for listening.